Hey, welcome back to the Jebb and Green podcast. I know you're listening. I know you're tuned in. It's been a while. Danny Henry on this one. This is your host, Vinyl Man Jebb. Glad to have you guys back listening with us. We're doing a little intro here. Danny has worked with Brian Wilson on stage. He is also a Connecticut native, wrote a song about a park in Danbury. We all talk about that in the podcast today. Enjoy and stay tuned.
We all live once, we all die once. We are who we are tonight. We all live once, we all die once. We know what's wrong and right. Can't say you love the Son of God until you love his daughters. No grace at dinner table when you just pollute his waters. Put yourself in someone else's shoes who can't afford to buy them. Check your pockets for receipts to see where your privilege is from. People say I love you in different ways. It's not different from what you say. Love. None of us are here for long. So open your heart before we're gone. If this is it and there's nothing after time, so give it all away, but most of all be kind. We all live once, we all die once. We are who we are tonight. We all live once, we all die once. We know what's wrong and right. Can't say all lives matter until the ones who need loving most are taken care of and the rules we follow turn to gold. We are brothers, sisters, and we'll look for helpers, Mr. Rogers. If it saves just one life, why not go and adjust our posture? If your house was on fire, what would you save? The ones you love, you're not alone. Come on and be brave. Love. None of us are here for long. So open your hearts before we are gone. If this is it and there's nothing after time, give it all away and most of all be kind. We all live once, we all die once. We are who we are tonight. We all live once, we all die once. We know what's wrong and right. People say I love you in different ways. It's not different from what you say. Love. None of us are here for long. So open your heart before we're gone. If
Hey guys, we're with Danny Henry. Hey Danny, how are you?
I'm swell. How about you?
Good.
No,
Glad to
we're
have
great.
you.
It's good to have you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on, guys. This is awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's really cool what you're doing.
Yeah, we were looking for
Absolutely.
new guys, and it was cool because Bobby D of Connecticut Rocks Radio was like interviewed me, and he was like, you gotta meet this Danny guy. He's worked with Brian Wilson. We'll get into that. You know, you've been on stage with Brian, so we'll definitely be asking that about how that was. But first off, I want to start off with a question. What bands and artists influence you as your musician?
Well, there's so much. Like yeah, I'm someone who is like the Beach Boys are basically my education. So, like the first time I remember hearing Surfer Girl, I was around 2 years old, and it changed my life. I don't know where I'd be without that. But like my mom was very into Jim Croce when I was growing up, so that has a lot of influence on me. And then Elton John. But I'm also into God. I love the theatrics of someone like Alice Cooper too, and Jerry Lee Lewis, Little Richard. Like they're so cool. And then the Four Tops, I saw them the first time saw the Beach Boys. Like I saw the Four Tops, I knew their songs, but then they had, I think, 4 different wardrobe changes within an hour, and I'm like, I need that to be part of who I am. And then yeah, probably the Muppets too. Like the Muppets had a big influence on my music.
Yeah, I can totally see that. Me and my friends were sort of going through. Me and my friends over at the Channel KRT podcast are going through sort of a Muppet phase right now,
Ooh,
and
perfect timing.
part of what Jim Henson really loves the most about doing the Muppets was working on the songs for the Muppet Show and everything. So he had the right idea.
Yeah, well, I whip out the Muppets at my concerts.
The rainbow.
Yeah, it's me. It's me, and I introduce my special guest stars, and I go from one side of the microphone to the other, and usually Miss Piggy and Fozzie have some words with each other, so
That's cool.
that occurs. But what I live my life by, like there's a Jim Henson quote. It's I'd like to leave the world a bit better than when I got here, and I think that's the coolest way to live your life.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah. I like to sing Kermit once in a while. The Rainbow Connection. I love it. It's just so cool because it's like it's not just kids television. It really works for everybody. And I've always it sparks the debate with Animal House. You know, is he based off Keith Moon, or a lot of people say he might be Mick Fleetwood, and I'm like, really?
Oh
So
wow!
I've heard the Keith Moon one, you know, because such raw drumming, and so it's pretty.
Oh
cool.
yeah. I could see that. And especially with the explosions, that's really,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
So how long have you been going around as a musician for? What was kind of like the first instrument you learned?
I was taking in the third grade. I had always like sort of like just dabbled with my grandma's piano more as like a toy when I was growing up. I didn't really take it seriously, but then when I was 8, I started taking violin lessons, and by the time I was 9, my violin teacher told me that I had no musical ability, and
Wow.
so
Jeez.
I got kicked out of the
So
string section by the 5th
Oh,
grade,
no.
and my brother played the trumpet, and so I'm the middle child, and my parents had just paid off his trumpet, and so I started playing trumpet in my middle school. And my 5th grade band teacher, Mr. Benedict Lesduskus from Meadowside Elementary School and Harborside Middle School in Milford, Connecticut. That's where I'm from. He definitely had such a huge influence on me. He made music cool. He made learning about it cool. And then when I was 15, I went into Guitar Center, and because I'd always written songs, but I didn't want to be one of those, and I could always sing, but I didn't want to be one of those singers who didn't play an instrument. So I went in there all excited from umpiring softball to buy a guitar, and keyboards were $10 cheaper that week, so that's why I play piano. $10. That's it.
Ooh.
I mean, it's still good to be making money off of that, you know.
Yeah, yeah. 10. Yeah, it was. I
Keeps
went to
going.
Guitar Center and I got this Casio. It was one of the 61 key things, and I learned sort of Schroeder style, like sitting on my bed just playing it on Saturday nights when I was not invited to parties in high school. That's where I learned how to play.
Oh wow.
Yeah, my grandma always told me I would be I like high school would be rough for me, but college would be okay. That's when I would start to blossom. So,
Hey, that's what
yeah,
that's the truth, honestly. High school's like really freaking tough, and that's when I think a lot of people find their craft because it's the dark days, and then college comes and you find your people or you find what you really want to do. It's crazy.
yeah. I
That's
was
how it happens
listening
for
to.
everyone, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I was opening up concerts back then,
Ooh.
like at they were like do it yourself shows, and sometimes they'd be at the Space when that was open, and other places where it would be like hardcore metal, and then I'd go out with the 61 key Casio and I'd do California Girls alone, and I got ruthlessly made fun of, but that just added to more confidence. It's like, oh, it's the middle child in me, the Alvin among chipmunks, where I just got really sort of, I don't know, it just sort of, it didn't fuel me. It's like, you know what, I'm just gonna do what I love, and that's what I've been doing
Hell yeah.
since.
You played on stage with Brian Wilson and Al Jardine, right? So that tour, right?
Yeah,
Blondie too.
yeah, Blondie
That's
Chaplin was on stage too.
So how did that come
uh
about? That's
um
amazing.
when I was in high school, I I added Probin Gregory, Brian's multi instrumentalist. He's a jack of all trades in Brian's band, as a friend on Facebook. I interviewed him for a project I was doing, and he not only is the nicest guy in the world, but he's also been a mentor to me, and he's one of my dearest friends in the world. And and then my friend Scott, who is in the band too, they made it possible. They just took me under their wings, and they've helped me out so much. And like both of the songs that like I sent to you, the Probin's playing the horns on them too, so
Oh
it's
wow.
really cool. Yeah, it was the thrill of my lifetime. It was in Atlantic City to do that, because it was always something like it was something that I had just dreamed of ever since I was born, to play with the Beach Boys. And that's a dream that like everyone tells you like that's a little too
Yeah.
big also. But no, it happened, and anything can happen in life. Like I wasn't taught piano or anything. I wasn't. It was, yeah, all of that stuff was just from listening to the Beach Boys, and like anything can happen. And that was the greatest, yeah, it was the greatest thrill of a lifetime. But it did take me like a month after that to sort of be like, I was panicking. I'm like, nothing ever good will happen again, nothing will top this. So
I know
that
that
was,
feeling way too well. Yeah.
yeah, it was panicked like a bit, because it's like, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. I'm so young. So that was yeah, it was the thrill of a lifetime. And I've met Brian a few times, and I've played, I played with him, and he's I never knew my grandpas, but I guess he sort of uh I don't know him, so it's not like I do not know Brian
Yeah, I
Wilson.
got you.
So like,
I
but
understand,
he
yeah.
would be my grandpa figure in this realm that we
That's
call
so freaking
life
awesome.
right now. Because my grandpa's passed before I was born, so if there's an old man in my life that I'm sort of like, yeah, this dude rocks, and I would love to hear stories that he tells. It would be Brian Wilson. I guess you could say I have granddaddy issues. So,
I love it.
like, what do you have a favorite song by them?
I love the Beach Boys, and my favorite album would be Pet Sounds. And my question for you is like, what's your favorite Beach Boys album? But to answer your question, favorite song, man, that's tough to pick one. Tyler, do you have a favorite Beach Boys song? I'll let you go first.
Sail on Sailor, without a
Ah,
doubt, just
Well,
because of those luscious, beautiful harmonies.
oh man, yeah, and the bridges, like
Yeah.
they're so tight too.
I got the Beach Boy records right
It's
next to me on the shelf. I got my original mono press copy of Pet Sounds, and I'm pulling it out here. But I'm actually pulling out the Beach Boys, the discography, Time Life thing here, because there's all the greatest hits. Oh yeah, my favorite is without a doubt Sloop John B. So I
Oh, nice, yeah.
very good choice, I would say.
yeah, I
Yeah.
like that song a lot, and I think Ken has done Stringfellow. When I saw him live, I think he covered God Only Knows once on a solo show, which is really
Oh,
freaking awesome. Ken Stringfellow did that. Yeah. So, Tyler, you could ask the next question that I just wrote out here.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
So We All Live Once was one of the songs that we played in the beginning of the episode. Could you tell us more about the writing process behind that?
yeah. So there was the city of Los Angeles, the Public Arts Council and the Center for Cultural Innovation, back last June, they had this thing where artists throughout the city could submit and possibly be given a grant because they were going to make an art exhibit about the pandemic. And they chose, I was one of the people that was chosen. And I didn't find out about it until October. And so I had to write a song about the pandemic, and I wrote like 9 songs. And then I had a traumatic experience at the end of October. I almost choked to death at the end of
Whoa.
October, and that was like my roommate tried doing the Heimlich, my next door neighbor tried doing it, and I was on the front lawn, and the paramedics had to do a jaw thrust, and I didn't have like the final thoughts in my life. It wasn't like I lost my vision. I really thought it was it, because like
Oh
I
gosh.
lost
Yeah.
oxygen. And so I had like I was just thinking, like the first thing I was thinking like was my my room is a fucking mess. I'm sorry for swearing right there. And
Oh,
No
no,
that's
it's
what
worries.
fine.
people are gonna walk into. And then after that I thought like, oh my god, like people are just gonna see this on Facebook, and I'm a showman, like, and that's how I'm gonna go. And then I thought I was thinking about my family, like when I was losing my sight, and really the only things that you have when you leave this world are your love and your memories. And when because none of us knows what happens next, so we're all going through the human condition together, and we should just be nice to each other. So
Yeah.
this song, it was about the pandemic, but I didn't want it to be just like some just like wear a mask song. So the day that I went to record it, because I had a deadline where I really had to get it done fast, I went to the 3 hours before the recording studio. I came up with the melody for that. I wrote the song. I wrote the lyrics as I was walking out the door. I finished them, and we recorded it. Yeah, at three. Like I started writing it and immediately went to the studio and did it. So it was very and it talks about like all the topics that are going on in the 2020 was a rough year, and I think that people just should be nicer to each other, because we're all going through this together, and we're all neighbors. And uh, Mr. Rogers said to look for helpers during times. And
Very true.
I think that, yeah, I think that we should all be kind to each other. Like it's something where we should all help each other out, because all of this is temporary. We don't know what's next. So that's what the song's about. And I got a lot of I did something on Facebook where it's just like I just had like the chorus. It must be like 100 people on there singing it with it, because I finally had like one of those songs where it's like, we're gonna be in a museum, so let's get as many people in a museum as I can,
That's
like some
funny.
nice
That's
museum
awesome.
stuff.
That's like funny in the
So I
sense of like
got
that's so cool. Like that's incredible.
yeah, and there's an actual child singing at the end of that. My
Oh,
friend,
cool.
yeah, they're like, that's an actual kid. It's my friend Morty's daughter, and she's the one who sings at the very end, and it really, I'm really happy with how it turned out. And the gallery, um, it's I'm forgetting the term. It's a curative showcase called Reimagine Public Art, and that opens up next week, I believe. And I'm
Okay.
really, yeah, I'm going in a museum exhibit, which that is very
Congratulations.
that's
That's
the
freaking
coolest
awesome.
thing I've ever
Prestigious honor
done.
there,
I
yeah.
always, yeah, like usually in museums I'm just like tempted to touch the paintings, and I have my hands behind my back, like in museums. So when it's going to be an online exhibit, but there's going to be a physical one once the pandemic ends, and that'll be really cool.
Yeah, I'm actually working on a song for a charity with a good friend of mine, Shane Staton. And at the end, we're having
No,
everybody join us on a chorus. So I thought that was really cool, like similar idea.
could I sing on it,
Yeah,
please?
without a doubt. I'm asking everyone that's been on the podcast. I'm gonna ask a million people, and like, yeah, definitely, I'm gonna put you right on the list, without a doubt. I was gonna ask you after the podcast. I want to do a song with you too.
I'd love
After the
to.
podcast. Thank you, Bobby D, for hooking us up, because he said we should. I
Oh,
remember that's how I met you. I was like, yeah, Bobby D from Connecticut Rocks Radio. But
Bobby D he is just one of the best people in Connecticut. He
oh
knows the
yeah.
whole history of Connecticut music, and I have gone like at 3 in the morning. I have he's the first. Like at 3 in the morning, I would go down to University of Bridgeport and just bring my keyboard there, and I would play like in the studio for him, and he would do shows at Two Boots, and he is just such
I'm really
a
lucky with
huge
him. He
supporter of
got
me.
me a gig July 2nd. You know, if everything goes good, I'm on a lineup now because he knows who I am, and I'm like, this is awesome. I didn't expect all this. It's all happening, so it's very very
Where
exciting.
are you playing?
Norwalk, up at
Where
Bank House in Norwalk, BANC. It's BJ's and
that's
BNC house.
that's awesome.
Oh, I'm excited.
I hope that people can be vaccinated by then, because
That's
I
what I'm
work at
hoping
a
too.
vac
Yeah.
well, I work at a vaccination site right
Oh.
now, and I work at Dodger stadiums, and
Oh wow.
that's why I've been, and uh yeah, I've had the vaccine, and I think that people should get it. And
Without a doubt.
yeah, and we let's just get the world going again, and let's have music. We need music.
Music.
We need to save these. We need to save these music venues, which are all closing down, because we need those. Those are integral. There's kids that haven't been in school in over a
It's
year.
crazy.
Imagine the
Yeah.
angst. Those kids need to do a do-it-yourself show, and just to have get into trouble. Like things need to happen. They're missing out. It's like in the Avengers movies with the blip. Like that's what the kids are going through right now.
Yeah, it really is.
They need it. We need music, we need arts, we need all these things, and that's so cool that you're playing that, and I hope
Oh,
that
I'm very excited because I'm upcoming still, so it's like, ooh.
Yeah.
you're not upcoming, you're here and now. We
True.
all live once.
True.
The lyric
You're
the
right.
lyric in the song is, we are who we are tonight. So thank you for letting me plug my song again.
Hell yeah, dude! You can plug
Yeah, no
it.
worries.
We'll put, send us all your links. We'll put them all down below as well, so everybody can check you out.
So, what's next on the horizon for you as an artist?
I have a new album that I'm working on right now. It's called Off Vaudeville.
Nice.
And during this pandemic, my therapist actually told me, she said, because I lost my, like, day job during the beginning of the, like, immediately at the pandemic, and then we had the lockdown in Los Angeles before, like a month before Connecticut. It was very strict out here.
Wow.
And she's like, and I started getting unemployment for the first time in my life, and she said, treat the unemployment check like it's a paycheck for songwriting. You've always wanted to write songs. So in the pandemic, I wrote over 100 songs, and I treated like the 8-hour day like sitting at the piano, and I would have a lunch break, and I just wrote. I have all these songs that I want to record, and I've narrowed them down, and I always liked I've yeah, it's called off vaudeville because I'm more of a vaudevillian than a Broadway person. I like the term off Broadway, so I like that. Yeah, I like doing a bit of show with wardrobe changes every, like, I had my album release show right before the pandemic for my last album, Manifest Destiny, and it was canceled. I think it was March 15th or 16th of last year, and I actually had a reverend there who was going to be there.
That's awesome.
I had a doppelganger who looked exactly like me. There was going to be there was going to be a horse involved. And yeah, like, do you know how hard it is to get a horse permit in Los Angeles? Like, it is not easy. And all of this was arranged. Like, we had rehearsals, like we were ready to go, and yeah, I couldn't do it, so I never got to do an album release show for my last album, and then I ended up doing it at Dodger Stadium in December, and with a giant asterisk, I played the largest Dodger Stadium concert of 2020 because that's the day that we tested the most people.
Cool.
Yeah, so I had my band.
Easy there, Elton John.
Yeah. Look, there's a giant asterisk, but also as a huge Mets fan, the Dodgers winning the World Series last year has a giant asterisk. It doesn't count. So I flip off Dodger Stadium every day and say fuck the Dodgers because I feel like I'm cheating on my wife as a diehard Mets fan by going there every day at work, and no, fuck this team. Like, I hate any team that's not the New York Mets. So that's but it's really cool what we're doing. We went from being the world's biggest testing site to the world's biggest vaccination site within 3 days. We got the order to do that, so we had to convert, and it's really cool to be amongst these people and to be doing this every day, and getting the opportunity to play music too is really, really cool because people need it. People need music, and fortunately or unfortunately, it's going to be me playing keyboard for them, but that is what they're getting. So I'm very grateful for getting to do that.
I did want to ask about the song Terry While. Could you tell us more about the writing and recording process behind that one?
That one was that was very ambitious. That song was written in 10 minutes, and it was written. I usually write on my piano, but for some reason that song, like, I just had it, like I used to have, but now I have this giant 88 key digital piano, and so I was playing that on my bed. Like, it's on my mattress. I'm hunched over on it with terrible Shaggy from Scooby-Doo lanky posture, playing the keyboard. I wrote the song. I went to Western Connecticut State University, and there's a park in Danbury called Terry While, and every band has a park song, and Terry While is a really pretty place with there's like mansion rubble, there's woodlands. It just doesn't like, I don't know, you hear birds fluttering there, you can fall in love there, that's where you want to go on a date, that's where you want to just talk with someone, because it's where you can relax and be yourself and just be a part of nature, be more. It's really cool, and to be in a city like Danbury is probably the coolest part. And everyone has a park song, and there's so I needed a park song, and I went into that and uh did the piano and the vocal. And if my producer Fernando Perdomo, he did so much on, like, we just worked together really well. And he was in the movie, like, did you guys, I don't know if you saw the documentary Echo in the Canyon, but he is
Oh yeah, I have heard of that. Yeah, I know he's in that.
yeah, Fernando's in that, and he's the one of the guitarists in the band. And then my friend Scott, he worked on This With Me and then Probin, and we I wrote it and we turned it into that. And it was the lead vocal, though, I'm really proud of it, because I wanted it had to be a little more relaxed. So I was given the advice to close my eyes and pretend that I'm revving a motorcycle slowly when I'm singing it, because it's weird with me when I record a lead vocal, because I'm used to sitting at the piano, but like anytime I play the song ever, and then when I'm in the studio, I'm standing doing it, and so it just sort of relaxed me. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. And there's birds and sitar, and the reason why I meshed with Fernando and my friend Scott did a great mix on it, and the reason why I meshed with Fernando so well, the thing that got me going is I did this song called Serial Man on my last album. That's the first song I recorded with him, and the first song I did in LA. And I said, do you mind if I play the cereal on this? And he mic'd up a bowl of cereal in stereo. So that was that is where that's like, I don't think anyone's ever been credited as playing the cereal on an album, but I have played this, like, I am credited as I'm because Elton John's the Rocket Man, Billy Joel's the Piano Man, I'm the Cereal Man. I pass out spoons at my concert, like mini spoons, and people wave them during that song.
Oh, that's cool.
I'll see you in a terry while. What is it that makes you smile? Picnics in the park. We'll stay till it gets dark. See you in a terry while. What is it that makes you smile? Gray in the clouds before the snow falls down. Fall asleep so that I can dream of you. My secrets are yours to keep. Pinky swear I'll tell the truth. peace we hope to find. I'll see you in a tarry while. What is it that makes you smile? Picnics in the park. We'll stay till it gets dark. See you in a tarry while. What is it that makes you smile? The gray in the clouds before the snow falls down. I want to go away to my home when I'm not home.
If you like what you heard here, Danny Henry will be making an appearance on Unlikely Places Pop and Rock Radio pretty soon. It'll be the next episode of that one. Once that's out, I will set a link down below, so just keep an eye out for the link. It'll be a little bit before it's out. Jebb and Greencast is brought to you by RoboJack Records. Follow RoboJack Records on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, any place of social media. You'll find us. But they're run by me, Jebb, Vinyl Man Jebb here, and Tyler, Owen, and Josh. We run that company together. We're excited to be started. So Jebb and Greencast is now a part of the RoboJack family.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Who's there?
Salsa.
Salsa who?
Saul's a nice guy. You should meet him sometime.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
guys. All right. Okay. Tough crowd. Why did the chicken cross the road?
Why?
Good question. Why?
He didn't. He was chicken.
Oh.
And lastly, my name is Danny Henry, but if I spent more time out in the sun, would I become Danny Tanner?
Ooh.
Boo.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Good night, everybody.
Good night,
Yeah,
everybody.
well,
Thank you so much for coming on, man. It was
Thank you
great
so
having
much.